Okay, this sofa shelf has been working out pretty well. But one thing that I decided against, I don't really want to use that to set drinks on. Not with this plug right here, because as clumsy as I am, I would spill a drink right into that plug. And that could cause a big headache. So what this week's project is going to be is I'm going to build an Ugly Duckling House inspired couch armrest shelf. So that's this week's project, so let's get to it. Alright, this is going to be a pretty simple project. The only materials you're going to need is a couple of 1x10s. These are just a couple of scrap pieces here, a 3/8 inch dowel rod, and some type of wood stain. And that's pretty much it. Tools, you know, the standard tape measures, pencil, some kind of a square, sanding disc, glue, and a drill with a 3/8 inch drill bit. Probably going to need a handsaw too. And optionally, if you've got these square corner braces, those would come in handy as well. And of course, some eye, ear, and lung protection. And might as well throw in something to keep you hydrated. So that's this is pretty much it for this project. So let's go ahead and measure out these boards. Okay, so this is basically the shape that you want it to take. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another shelf up above here, and I'll have a circle cut out so you can place a glass. And that's what I'm going to be using the dowel rod for. But I need to know what the width is before the width of this top shelf, what it needs to be before we start putting this thing together. So let's go take that measurement. Okay, my unscientific method of just placing the boards on there and moving them over to see what kind of an overhang I've got. And I think I'm going to be able to use these as is. So how often does that happen? Other than right now, never. This next piece is optional, but I'm going to add a second shelf that's just 6 inches wide, and just enough to, you know, hold a couple of drinks. So I'm going to go ahead and make that cut. Okay, so your cut list is going to be 3 1x10s, 16 inches long. I've got 4 sections of 3/8 inch dowel rod, 4 inches long, and then 1 section of 1x10 that's 6 inches long. And that's your cut list. So let me go ahead and prep these boards before assembly. Okay, next you want to give each of your boards a light sanding just to knock all the rough edges off. Okay, I've given all 4 of my boards a quick sanding, and since I know that this is going to be the top board and it's going to be connected using the dowel rod, so I'm going to go ahead and round over all of the edges on this one. I'll wait till these 3 are assembled before I run the router across it. Okay, I want to place my dowel rods an inch from each edge. And I know that this is 6 inches, so what I'm going to do is make sure that I'm 1 inch from the edge, and then place a mark right at the 1 inch mark on each side. And then I'll repeat that over here. Okay, that ought to do it. Alright, making sure that these 2 boards are flush on all 3 edges here. And then I've got those 2 clamped together, and then I've got that set clamped to the table. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill my holes in each of the 4 corners for the 3/8 dowel. Alright, let's see how the dowel rods fit. Okay, looks like a pretty good fit. Okay, so I've got a dry fit right here just to give you a better idea of what this is going to look like. And I'll take my hole saw and I'll put a hole right here, and then I'll put another one over here, and then you'll be able to get a couple of drinks there. So let's go ahead and get those holes drilled. Alright, I know that my hole saw is a 3-inch hole saw. And I want the inside edge of the hole to be at 4-inch mark. So if I subtract 1.5 inches from 4, that gives me 2.5 inches. So that's where my center point is going to be there. And then again over here. Center point's at 2.5 inches. And then I've got each of these centered at 3 inches. So let me go ahead and drill my 2 cup holes. just got a dry fit here, so let's see how this is going to work out. So I've got just a regular soda can. That seems to go in okay. Got a water jug. That seems to go in just fine. All right, so now I just got to figure out how high off of that bottom shelf that I want that to be, and we'll go from there. Okay, I just want to run my 1/4 inch round over bit, around the inside of both of these drink holders, and I'll do that on both sides. Okay, I didn't have the router listed as one of the tools that you need, and that would be optional, but I've got it, so I'm going to use it. Otherwise, I would have rounded over these edges just by using, just a block sander. Okay, it's during the glue up that you're going to want to use those corner clamps if you've got them. Best in this configuration, it's best to get the bottom one tight first, and then you can adjust the top before you tighten it down. Okay, and that ought to hold it in a nice square configuration until it dries, and then I can come over and I can get the other side. I went ahead and threw a couple more clamps on there just to close the gap right here. There was just a slight gap. You probably wouldn't be able to notice, but I wanted to go ahead and close it up anyway. Okay, the first top and side section, the glue's all dried, so I've got the second side all glued up and clamped up, and we'll let that sit until it dries. Okay, everything put together, and I've got another dry fit. I'll need to cut these off, once I glue these, and it's also sticking through the bottom as well, so I have to cut those off as well. I think that's about the distance that I want between the two. So let's see how that works with a couple of mugs. Works really well with that kind. And comes all the way through, touches the bottom. So yeah, I think that's going to work out. And still got a lot of room here to set down a plate of snacks or a sandwich or whatever. And that should fit over the arm of the couch just fine. So now what I need to do is pull this apart and do some finish sanding and get it stained. And then once I got it stained, then I can put it back together, get these cut off. Maybe I'll cut them off before I pull it apart so that they're the right height, make it a lot easier to get this put together. That's where we are so far.